And here's a consumer alert you need to know about as you pack your lunch before you head to work today. That bottled water you could be stuffing in your lunch bag could be under recall. Niagara Bottling yanking 14 different types of water, saying one of its springs may be contaminated with the bacteria E. coli. And out here at the .com wall, we want to make it really easy for you to see this full detail of the recall.
Most people do not think about their supply closet until the shelf is already empty. Then the store is picked over, the app says out of stock, and the price has quietly jumped. By August 1st, some ordinary items may get harder to find or more expensive to buy. Number 1 is the one people always assume they have enough of, until they check. Number 12. Batteries. Batteries feel like an afterthought until the remote dies, the flashlight dies, or the smoke detector starts chirping at 2 in the morning. That is the moment people realize the drawer is empty, and it is always at the worst possible time. Summer storms, power flickers, and everyday gadgets all quietly drain a household's battery stash faster than people expect. And 9-volt batteries are cheap now, but they will not stay convenient once a storm warning has everyone else buying the same shelf empty. Kids' toys eat batteries. Remotes eat batteries. Smoke detectors eat batteries at the worst possible moment, usually in the middle of the night when nobody wants to climb a ladder. This is not about hoarding. It is about not being the person standing in an empty aisle at 9 at night, holding a dead flashlight, while everyone else already grabbed the last pack off the shelf an hour earlier. Buy a mixed multi-pack covering the sizes your house actually uses. Keep them in one labeled bin, instead of scattered across 3 drawers, a junk drawer, and a box in the garage nobody can find. Rotate older batteries to the front so they get used before they die quietly in storage. Check your smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors now, since those are the devices where a dead battery is not just annoying, it is dangerous. Many people do not realize how old the batteries in these detectors actually are until they start chirping, which is usually the detector's way of telling you it has been running low for weeks already. It also helps to keep a small stash of specialty batteries, like the flat coin cell batteries that power key fobs, thermometers, and small medical devices, since those are easy to forget until the one device that needs them stops working. Batteries keep small things running. The next item keeps you seeing what you are doing when the batteries in the house lights run out too. Number 11. Flashlights and headlamps. A flashlight is one of those items nobody thinks about until the power goes out and every phone in the house is suddenly the only light source, draining fast and needed for something else entirely, like checking the weather or calling family. Before August 1st, a working flashlight or headlamp per person is worth having, not because something dramatic is guaranteed, but because storms, grid strain, and summer heat waves make outages more common than people like to admit. Utility companies often ask people to conserve power during heat waves, specifically because the grid is stretched thin, and stretched grids sometimes fail. Headlamps are worth the extra few dollars over a basic flashlight because they leave your hands free to actually do something, cook, carry, fix, or comfort a scared kid, instead of holding a light the whole time while trying to also open a can of soup or find the fuse box in a dark hallway. Test every flashlight in the house right now, today, not after the power goes out. A flashlight with dead batteries in a drawer is not preparation. It is just plastic. Check that the bulb still works, that the batteries are not corroded, and that you actually know which drawer it lives in, because a flashlight nobody can find is functionally the same as not owning one. Consider keeping one flashlight in a fixed, memorized location, like a kitchen drawer everyone knows, so nobody is stumbling through a dark hallway trying to remember where it went last time. It is also worth keeping a small backup light in a car, a bag, or a bedside table, since outages rarely happen in the exact spot where the main flashlight is stored. A quick reminder, drop a comment with how many working flashlights you actually have in your house right now, because the next item is about making sure your phone does not become the next thing that dies on you. Number 10. Portable power banks. A phone at 1% during a power outage is not just inconvenient. It is the difference between calling for help and sitting in the dark with no way to reach anyone, no way to check if the storm has passed, and no way to know if the roads are clear. Portable power banks are one of the most overlooked items before storm season and heat waves, because people assume the power will come back before the phone dies. Sometimes it does not. Outages after major storms can stretch into a day or two, and a phone that dies 6 hours and leaves you cut off for the rest of it, right when you need information the most. A fully charged power bank can keep a phone alive for a day or two of light use. That covers checking weather updates, calling family, or just having a working flashlight app when the actual flashlight rolls under the couch at the exact moment you need it. Keep it charged, not just owned. A power bank sitting dead in a drawer helps nobody. Charge it every few months so it is ready the moment you actually need it. And consider setting a recurring reminder so this does not become one more thing you forget until it is too late. Bigger households may want more than one power bank, since a single small one splits attention fast when 3 phones are all under 20% at the same time. It is also worth checking that the power bank you own actually charges quickly enough to be useful, since some of the cheapest models trickle charge so slowly that a phone barely moves in an hour. Power banks keep you connected. The next item keeps the rest of the house connected too, and it disappears from shelves faster than anyone expects. Number 9. Bottled water. Bottled water sounds too simple to worry about until the tap runs cloudy. A boil advisory hits your area, or a storm knocks out the local water treatment plant for a few days, leaving everyone scrambling for something safe to drink. This is one of those items people assume they can grab last minute. That assumption falls apart fast once a storm warning goes out, and the whole neighborhood has the same idea at the same store. At the same time, staring at the same empty shelf while employees try to restock faster than carts can empty it. A case or two of water is cheap now. It will not stay convenient once shelves empty out the night before a storm. Store it somewhere cool, out of direct sunlight, and rotate it every so often so it stays fresh instead of sitting forgotten for years in the back of a garage. Think about how much water your household actually needs per day, not just for drinking, but for basic cooking and hygiene too, and size your stockpile around real numbers rather than guessing. A general rule many households use is roughly a gallon per person per day, which adds up quickly once you account for a full week. This is not about stockpiling for a disaster movie. It is about not depending on a tap that might not cooperate for a day or two, and not being the household calling around trying to find water while everyone else already thought of it first. Water keeps you hydrated. The next item keeps you patched up if something goes wrong, while the water situation sorts itself out. Number 8. First aid kit supplies. A first aid kit is the item everyone owns, and almost nobody has actually checked. Half the bandages are gone. The antiseptic dried out years ago, and the only thing left is an ace bandage nobody remembers using or even remembers buying. Before August 1st, restocking basics like bandages, antiseptic, gauze, tape, pain relievers, and any specific medications your household needs is worth doing now, while the store shelf is full and the price has not spiked from summer demand or storm panic buying. Cuts, scrapes, bug bites, and minor burns happen more in summer, not less. Kids are outside longer, grills are running, bikes come out, and yard work picks up. A stocked kit turns a small injury into a 5-minute fix instead of an emergency room trip that costs hours. And money you did not plan to spend. Check expiration dates on anything medical. Old supplies are not backed up. They are just clutter waiting to fail you at the worst moment, when you reach for something and find it useless or dried out. Consider building 2 smaller kits instead of one giant one, a portable one for the car or bag, and a bigger one that stays at home, so you are covered whether the emergency happens in the kitchen or on the road. It also helps to actually open the kit once a season and check it, rather than assuming it is still fully stocked from whenever it was last touched. The next item is where things get a lot more serious for anyone taking daily medication. Number 7. Prescription medication refills. This is the item people regret ignoring the most, and it rarely gets talked about in prepping content. If you or someone in your house takes daily medication, running low right before a storm, a supply disruption, or a busy travel month is not a small inconvenience. It is a real problem, and for some conditions it can be a dangerous one. Pharmacies can run into supply delays, insurance approvals take time, and some medications cannot simply be picked up the same day if something goes wrong with a refill request. A storm that closes the pharmacy for 2 days can turn a manageable situation into a genuine emergency for someone who depends on that medication daily. Before August 1st, check refill dates now, not the week you run out. Ask your pharmacist about getting an extra week or two of buffer if your insurance allows it. Some plans allow early refills specifically for situations like storm season, but you usually have to ask rather than wait for the pharmacy to offer it. This is one item where waiting until the shelf is empty is not an option, because for some people, the shelf being empty is not inconvenient. It is dangerous, and it deserves more attention than it usually gets on lists like this one. It also helps to keep a written list of every medication, dosage, and prescribing doctor somewhere accessible, since that information becomes critical if a pharmacy is unreachable, and you need to find an alternative one quickly during an emergency. Keep a copy on paper, not just on a phone, since a dead phone is exactly the situation you are trying to plan around in the first place. Think about this beyond just prescriptions too. Anyone using an inhaler, insulin, blood thinners, or heart medication should treat their supply with even more urgency than a general multivitamin or something that can wait a week without consequences. The gap between mildly inconvenient and genuinely dangerous is different for every medication, and it is worth knowing where your specific situation falls before an emergency forces the question. If a chain pharmacy near you closes during a storm, it helps to already know a backup location, whether that is a different branch further away or a smaller independent pharmacy that may have different hours or supply. Some pharmacy apps also let you track a prescription status and transfer a refill to another location if the usual one is closed, and it is worth knowing how to do that before you actually need to, not while you are standing outside a locked door. Travel adds another layer to this. A busy month away from home, whether for work or vacation, is one of the most common reasons people accidentally run low, simply because the refill date landed in the middle of a trip and got forgotten in the rush of packing. Building in a buffer before travel, not just before storm season, closes that gap too. Medication keeps people stable. The next item keeps the whole household fed when a grocery run suddenly is not an option. Number 6. Shelf-stable food. Shelf-stable food is the boring backbone of any household that wants to avoid a stressful grocery scramble. Canned vegetables, beans, rice, pasta, peanut butter, and canned proteins do not need refrigeration and do not spoil the moment the power blinks or the fridge gives out. This is not about building a bunker pantry. It is about having enough on hand that one missed grocery trip, one storm, or one exhausting week does not turn into an empty kitchen and a delivery order you did not want to pay for, on top of everything else going wrong. Before August 1st, a rotating stock of shelf-stable basics is worth building slowly. Buy a little extra each trip instead of panic buying the week. A storm warning goes out and every cart in the store looks like yours, fighting over the same 3 cans of soup. Rotate what you have so nothing expires quietly in the back of the cabinet. Write the purchase month on the bottom of cans if that helps you keep track, and move older stock to the front so it gets used first instead of forgotten. Think beyond just canned goods too. Dried pasta, rice, oats, and shelf-stable milk alternatives all add variety, so a week of pantry meals does not feel like the same 3 dinners on repeat. It is also worth keeping a manual can opener in the kitchen drawer, since an electric one is useless the moment the power is the actual problem. Shelf-stable food is insurance you can actually eat. Food keeps the house running. The next item keeps the food cold when the power decides not to cooperate. Number 5. Coolers and ice packs. A cooler feels like a summer barbecue item until the power goes out and the refrigerator becomes a very expensive, very useless box sitting in the corner of the kitchen. Before August 1st, having a decent cooler and a few reusable ice packs on hand can be the difference between saving a fridge full of groceries during an outage and throwing all of it away the next morning, along with the money it cost. Freeze extra ice packs and even bottles of water ahead of time. If the power goes out, packing the essentials from the fridge into a cooler buys you hours, sometimes a full day, before anything spoils, especially if you keep the cooler closed as much as possible and only open it when necessary. This is one of those items people only think about after the food is already ruined. Buying it before that happens is the entire point, and it costs far less than replacing a fridge full of spoiled groceries after the fact. If you have a chest freezer full of meat, a larger cooler or even a second one is worth considering. since frozen meat lasts longer packed tightly together than scattered loosely in a half-empty freezer. Keeping the fridge and freezer doors closed as much as possible during an outage also buys significant extra time before anything inside actually spoils. Coolers protect what is already in the house. The next item makes sure you can still cook something new if the stove or oven is not an option. Number 4. Portable fuel and a camp stove. A portable propane or butane camp stove sounds like camping gear, not emergency prep. Until the power is out for 2 days, and the only working way to heat food is the grill outside or nothing at all. Before August 1st, a small camp stove with a couple of extra fuel canisters is one of the most underrated items on this list. It lets you boil water, heat canned soup, cook eggs, or make coffee without depending on electricity at all, which matters more than people expect once the outage stretches past the first few hours. Fuel canisters do not expire quickly, which makes this an easy item to buy once and forget about until you actually need it. Just store it somewhere safe, away from heat, and check it occasionally to make sure nothing has rusted or leaked. Always use camp stoves outdoors or in a well-ventilated area. Never inside a closed house, since the risk of carbon monoxide buildup is real and serious, and it is one of the most dangerous mistakes people make during an extended power outage. This is the difference between eating a warm meal during an outage and eating cold canned beans straight from the can, which nobody actually wants to do twice, no matter how hungry they are. It is also worth practicing with the stove once before an emergency, so the first time you use it is not also the first time you are figuring out how it works. A camp stove keeps meals warm. The next item keeps the whole house comfortable when the air conditioning is the thing that stops working. Number 3. Battery-powered or rechargeable fans. Air conditioning failure during a summer heat wave is not just uncomfortable. In extreme heat, it can become dangerous fast, especially for kids, elderly relatives, or anyone with health conditions that make heat harder on the body. A battery-powered or USB rechargeable fan is a small item that solves a big problem. It will not replace central air, but it keeps air moving, which makes a hot house survivable instead of miserable during a short outage that hits at exactly the wrong time. Before August 1st, this is worth grabbing while prices are normal, because the moment a heat wave or storm warning hits, these are exactly the kind of items that sell out first and get marked up right after, along with generators and portable coolers. Keep it charged, keep it accessible, and do not assume the power will come back before the heat becomes a real problem, especially overnight when temperatures inside a closed house can climb higher than people expect. Check on elderly neighbors or relatives during extended outages too, since heat-related illness can develop quietly and quickly in anyone without reliable airflow. It is also worth knowing where the nearest cooling center or air-conditioned public space is located in case a home outage stretches on longer than a fan alone can handle. A fan keeps you cool. The next item keeps a little bit of cash in your pocket when the power is out and the card readers stop working too. Number 2. Cash on hand. Cash feels almost old-fashioned until the power goes out and every card reader, ATM, and gas pump in the area stops working at the same time, leaving people stuck with a full tank of gas nearby and no way to pay for it. This happens more often than people expect during storms and outages. Stores that stay open cannot always process cards without power, and the nearest working ATM might be miles away with a line out the door, assuming it has not already run out of cash itself. Before August 1st, keeping a small amount of cash at home, enough for gas, a few groceries, or an emergency, is one of the simplest and most overlooked items on this list. It costs nothing extra to set aside now, and it solves a problem that shows up the moment the internet or power goes down. Keep it in small bills, since a large bill is not always useful when a small shop cannot make change during a busy, chaotic day. It is also worth splitting the cash between a couple of locations in the house rather than one envelope, so it is easy to grab in a hurry if you need to evacuate quickly. This is not about distrust of cards. It is about having a backup that works even when the systems everyone depends on do not, and about not being the person stuck at the register unable to pay. Cash keeps you moving. The final item on this list is the one that ties everything else together and keeps a plan from falling apart when it matters most. Number 1. A written emergency plan. A written emergency plan takes the top spot because it is not a product. It is the thing that makes every other item on this list actually useful. Most households have some of these items scattered around the house, but no clear plan for what to do with them. Where do you meet if you get separated? Who calls who? Where is the flashlight actually kept? What is the plan if the power is out for more than a day? Which neighbor has a generator? And which relative lives far enough away to host everyone if things get bad? Before August 1st, sitting down for 15 minutes and writing this out, even on a single sheet of paper stuck to the fridge, turns a pile of supplies into an actual plan the whole household understands, instead of scattered gear nobody remembers the purpose of. Include contact numbers for family members, since phones die and memorized numbers matter more than people think at the moment. Include the location of every item on this list too, so nobody is searching the house for the flashlight while the power is already out. This is the item people skip because it feels unnecessary, right up until the moment confusion costs more time than any missing supply ever could, and everyone is asking each other what to do instead of just doing it. Walking through the plan out loud with the whole household once, even casually over dinner, makes a real difference over just writing it down and hoping everyone remembers. The regret is never dramatic at first. It shows up quietly. When the storm warning goes out, the store shelves are already thin, and the plan you meant to make is still just an idea in your head. Buy slowly, build the plan, rotate the supplies. Then when August 1st arrives, you are not scrambling. You are just opening the closet. Drop a comment with the item you already have stocked at home. Click the video on the left if you want to see what shoppers are grabbing next. If you want simple prep tips before shelves get picked over, hit subscribe. I will see you in the next one.